Hello again, people. This is Edwin Learnard. In this segment of my Rising Signs series on YouTube, I'm going to discuss, delineate, and interpret Aquarius Rising. First, let me start by describing the appearance of someone with Aquarius Ascendant. Aquarius Rising tends to be tall in stature, often dark flaxen or light brown hair. There's often two distinct types of Aquarians, though both of them being tall. Some can be actually very long and tall and have a very long visage and appearance, and others, while maybe tall, can have a more stout or stockier build. The complexion of Aquarius tends to be clear but not pale, often hazel eyes, very whether tall or not, very either wiry or just very strong appearance, broad shoulders, tends to have very good, generally good appearance, good features. I've read that with Aquarius Rising, or well, Aquarian in general, but Aquarius Rising, often the nose and the forehead, there's not really as much indentation between, I guess you could say, the top of the nose and the forehead as would be with other rising signs or other signs of the zodiac in general. Aquarius Rising also tends to be very healthy and generally has a very wiry and rugged constitution. You talk about as far as and also with the appearance, more Aquarius can also have kind of a long oblong type head. Now let me get to the personality and characteristics of one with Aquarius Rising or Ascendant. Aquarius Rising people tend to be somewhat of a maverick. They can be very different, eccentric. They have their own way about them and like to do things in their own manner, and often disdain convention and like to do things their own way in their own time. Their clock generally might not be at the same time, in schedule as everybody else's. They could be non-conformists. Aquarius Rising people can also be very innovative and inventive. And even when one is not, that is Aquarius Rising is not inventive, an Aquarius Rising person could either, be the type to make modifications to existing inventions, or it just has a certain way of doing things which deviates from the norm and will not, often will not conform to what, society would generally dictate. Like, for example, modification to an existing invention, as we know, let's say like you have a television and somebody had, as we know, invented something where you have the multiple pictures in the screen where you could see, 4, 6, 8 channels or whatever simultaneously, as one example. Aquarius Rising people often make very staunch and steadfast friends, and also is known to be a universal friend. Aquarius Rising people are make friends quite readily, but often are difficult to truly know and understand. And also there is a very humanitarian and selfless urge that is connected with people with Aquarius Rising as well. As far as vocations for Aquarius Rising people, I see it as Aquarians, they could be connected with invention, innovation, anything with science and technology in general, television, the use of electricity, electronics is something that Aquarians could be good at. Something where they're showing their humanitarian and philanthropic urge and tendencies as well. I like to say As far as anyone, famous people with Aquarius Rising, no big shocker being an air sign. Many Aquarius Rising people can make good world leaders. President Barack Obama has Aquarius Rising. Former singer Janis Joplin had Aquarius Rising. Actor Russell Crowe has Aquarius ascending. Aquarius Rising people, like I said, modern, very, not just, modern innovations is something that could be connected with Aquarius Rising. I don't have the person's name off the top of my head, but there was somebody centuries ago that had invented a certain type of photography. It was like something called daguerreotype photography, and he had Aquarius Rising. Gene Hackman, actor, has Aquarius Rising, besides having the sun in Aquarius, so he's really a type of person that has obviously has double the Aquarian characteristics and tendencies. So he's somebody, that is one person that's true Aquarian in every sense of the word. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for this edition of my Rising Sign segment on YouTube. Catch me next time where I'll be discussing Pisces Rising.